Hello and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
And Daniel, it's been a little while.
Yeah, not too bad.
No?
No, because we recorded last week. It's fine.
That's true.
You just felt like you've been out of it for a while.
I do. So...
because of all the drugs you've been taking.
Right? Oh, man.
All the damn allergy pills.
Listeners of the podcast from last week will remember how bad I sounded. I don't sound great today. I know I'm a little raspier than normal, but I feel better. I'm like 80% here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready to do some debates, which I have some strong opinions on.
Ain't that the truth? Mind you, I have some issues with some of the stuff, like, based on Board Game Geek's definition of what we're going to be talking about, most of these fit, except for one I believe does not fit very well, for sure. Based on their own personal definition of what this category is. You want to tell the people the category?
So the category today is multi-use cards, and we're going to debate that from Board Game Geek. And these are games that are card-driven or have cards in it that have multiple uses for those cards.
And what Board Game Geek defines it as is completely different than what we're thinking about when we come to it. So when we get down to it, when I read the definition, and then you start getting into your rants... But let's worry about that when we get to the next segment.
Right. When I think multi, I think more than two.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, we'll get there.
Or in this case, for one of these games, it only uses... You either use it for one thing or the other thing. There's no difference in that matter. Yeah. It's like, and then why is this on this list?
Right. Exactly.
But before we get into that, we do want to let everybody know, we promised this back earlier in the year that we are doing another giveaway. We are now giving away the game that did not get chosen from the earlier giveaway, Horrified World of Monsters, not the most recent new one that just came out in August. This is one we had earlier in the year, was not selected in that double giveaway, well, not double giveaway, but the choice giveaway. Mm-hmm. So we have the copy here. It is part of our giveaway for the month of September. This way you have a spooky game for October. We're going to try to get it out before October during the September cycle. Again, this is Horrified World of Monsters, not the newest Horrified.
Yep.
But there are different ways to get into this that we will explain a little bit later.
That's right. So keep listening, and for your chance to win a copy of this awesome game that we actually enjoyed quite a bit.
It's actually one of my favorites of the sets.
It's probably one of the hardest ones.
It is probably one of the hardest ones. I think it is probably my third of all the sets. Maybe it's going to move down a little bit because I really did like what Dungeons and Dragons did.
True.
But my favorite is still the base set. I just love the Universal Monsters. But I also liked what the Greek monsters did. And which this also takes a lot of reference from the Greek monsters. Another thing about this game, you can integrate it with the Greek monsters as well as the new Dungeons and Dragons set. So there's that.
That's cool. Very cool. And before we get into the bulk of today's episode, Daniel, what have you been playing?
There's a couple games I want to talk about that I've been playing. One for sure that I know you like a lot, but we'll get to that after I get to my second game. First one I'm going to talk about is I originally played this one time with you. The original time I played this game. I finally got myself a copy of it most recently from that Denver trip I talked about earlier. And I played it with my group just recently, starting another campaign for us. Yeah. And this is Toy Story Obstacles and Adventures, which is a game made by, of course, Op, at the time, USAopoly, as well as Prospero Hall. And I just checked the credits, too. And the main designer, apparently, was G.A.M.E.R. Mandel.
Oh, okay.
So they have Prospero Hall, and then they have a person's name as designer. So I guess she got the full credit for this one. So good for her. They needed to do that. If you like the Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle deck building game, this is exactly the same, other than the fact that it has a Toy Story theme on it, and some slight rule changes that the original Hogwarts Battle had issues with, like the cycling of the market, which was very important. Yeah. And we actually used it in our second game because we had nothing but high cards out there, and it's like, nobody can buy anything, so we finally decided to go ahead and just cycle the market that one time, and it worked out in our favor. It helped us out a lot. It's a fantastic game. I love the artwork on this game. I'm a fan of Toy Story. It's one of my favorite Pixar films, if not my favorite Pixar film. I love everything about it. So much so, I just bought a t-shirt, so when I do my Disney trip later this month, I have, it's Woody with Rex, and he's chasing him off like in the Jurassic Park meme. That's awesome. So I was like, yeah. But I like everything about it. We played through 2 adventures of this game, which is basically the first 2 movies. I loved everything about it. Though, I have one issue with the packaging of this game. it tells you who the new character is going to be without you even actually playing the second, because you can't play this character in the second game, but they give you a player board for this character onto, and you can't touch it until the second game. It's like, oh well, it figures that this character is going to be in there, but right. Spoilers.
But still, couldn't you have done it face down somehow so you don't look at the other
or
side? Or
put it under the thing until it tells you like, oh, now this character, lift the thing over the thing here and pick up this character under here. Yeah, there's ways you could do it. People have done it for ages, and yet it's just like, there it is. That's the character you're going to eventually unlock. But all in all, I really did like it. I liked how they did it in Hogwarts Battle more, where it's just you had a player board and then your cards and everything told you who you're playing as. So that was really good. But I've enjoyed it so far. I do like this game a lot. I love the system so much that you don't see it up there. It's at the very top, but I have the third version of this system, the Avatar one, that we will be playing once we finish the Toy Story one. But my buddy was like, I miss Hogwarts Battle because we went through everything on that one because he misses that deck building aspect of it. And I'm like, I got something for you. And so I brought it over, and that's why we started playing it. So that is Toy Story Obstacles and Adventures.
Cool. The first game I wanted to talk about is a game that came out fairly recently that I bought. And I texted you right after playing it. I'm like, dude, you need to try this. I will probably bring it at some point in the future. I was really impressed with it.
The
Tiger
one,
and Dragon.
That one.
Yeah. This is by Oink Games and Arclight Games. And this is the biggest Oink game that they make currently that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. It's in a normal-sized box. Munchkin size, fairly big size. And that's because inside of there are, like, Mahjong-esque plastic tiles. And these are basically the cards in the game. It's a really clever game based on, I guess, like a traditional Japanese game. It's a shedding game, which you and I always like.
Yeah.
Yep. And the way it works is really simple. You have the numbers 1 through 8. Each number is how many copies of the card it is, so it's a pyramid deck, right? So there's 7 sevens, 8 eights. There's 3 threes, right? That's important. And then there's 2 extra tiles. There is the tiger and the dragon. The tiger is red. The tiger is green, and so are all the even numbers. And the dragon is red, and so are all the odd numbers. So the way the game works is really simple. You have a board, and you're trying to be the first to go out. If you go out, then you will score a number of points based on the very last tile you played. So there's like 10 different ways to play it, but the main one that they recommend, Dojo Battle, the higher the number, the more points it's worth. Mm-hmm. And so what was really fun about it is that as you're playing it, you basically put down one of your numbers, and you're trying to win that battle. Mm-hmm. And the way you win the battle is by going around the table and everybody passing. So if I put down a 3... The only way you can block a 3 is by playing another 3 of that number. So, if I play a 3, you can choose to pass or play a 3 if you have it. The next player can pass or play a 3 until somebody blocks it, in which case they play that tile and then they play another attack and continues. So basically they kind of choose the trick and it keeps going, right? Even if you have a 3, you can still pass. And I did that to great effect. Like, my son played a 3 and went around the table to me. I was like, no, I'm passing. And then later on, I had 2 3s in my hand, which were the other 2.
Yeah.
I could play those that nobody could block it, right? Except, here's the thing. The red dragon is the same color as all the odd numbers. It can count as any odd number. It's a wild. Amazing at defense. Terrible at attack. Because if I play a red dragon, any red number can block it. So, if it comes back to you, then you take any one of your tiles and put it face down as the block instead, and then you do yet another attack. And so, let's say I win with a 7, I would get 4 points. Every face down tile that has came around unblocked, that gives me a bonus point as well, and first to 10 wins. And I won by shooting the moon and winning with a 1, which is an instant 10 points. I had 1 point going into it, and everyone else was fighting over it, and I won with a 1. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, and I won the whole game. Nice. It was so satisfying. The components are fantastic. The art is, lovely. It's real simple art,
Yeah.
And
what you expect from an Oink game.
Yeah, I mean, the box is packed really tight, and it makes sense.
Also what you expect from an Oink game.
Also what you expect. They don't waste space there.
No.
But I just find it so clever. And there's a bunch of different ways you could do it. Like, you could do Dojo Battle. You could do another one where it has, like, the middle numbers are worth more points. Okay. The further away from the middle is less points because, it's kind of extremes.
Yeah.
You could play, like, other versions where, like, you have to reveal certain tiles. And, like, the number that you reveal is how many points you win if you win the round, like kind of thing.
Okay.
And so they have a whole bunch of like big cards that show you these scoring mechanisms. But I mean, I enjoyed this game so much. We played at a ramen shop actually. Like that's where we learned how to play it.
Yeah.
And I invited my wife to play as I do with all my games, and she looked at it. She was like, "Well, I mean, it's Tiger and Dragon. It's a Japanese game.
Yeah.
We're playing it at a ramen shop. You know, they tend to take a while. So yeah, well." She asked us, like, is it complicated? I'm like, I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. And then we started playing it, and she picked up really fast and destroyed us. And she actually really liked the game. So much that she played it again later that night.
Nice.
So, I love it. Tiger and Dragon, it's so good.
This is one that you picked up during the Barnes sales, right?
Yeah. You know, if you listen to us live, Barnes & Noble is having, like, a 50% sale. They're selling a bunch of their stuff on clearance. Still go buy this at your local game store, but if they don't have it, Barnes & Noble will pay for, like, you know, half the price. Totally worth it. Yeah, it's worth it for the original price, but...
Yeah, and it's not super expensive originally. It's what?
40?
Yeah, I was going to say like 30, 40, something like that.
Yeah, it's 35, 40, I think.
Because it was 50% off, so you paid, what, 20?
Yep.
And it's because it's got those Bakelite tiles.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the last game I'm going to talk about, because we only do 2 on Top 8 Debate, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about in this one, is one that I am... hard-pressed to say I don't think another game is going to beat it for me in the 2025 like categories. Like our favorite game that we played in 2025.
Wow.
I enjoyed it that much just from that one play, and I want to dig into it more. This is the newest game, really, on any of these lists that we've done lately, because it just came out a month ago.
Yep.
And this airs in September, so like a month and 2 weeks or so. Like end of June, or end of July, or early July is when it came out. Mm-hmm. This is Vantage from Stonemaier Games and Jamie Stegmaier. You can see it right above his head right over there. Oh, man. I love the fact that this is one of those games that I've always wanted in board game. It's just, like, Western Legends does open world really well, but you're still kind of on rails. You can win no matter how you play the game, based on how you play the game, but you have to be really good at it. So, like, I can win in Western Legends by playing poker, and that's fine. Where this one is, like, you're just progressing the story, and it gives me that Skyrim, that Elder Scrolls Oblivion feel, where I'm like, I am going and doing things and seeing what happens, and I don't care about the main mission. Let me go explore all this other stuff. I'm doing all these checks, and all the checks are really for is you're going to pass them no matter what. It's just going to be like, oh, you passed this check? Cool. How much did you lose? Was it life? Was it time? Was it all this and that? Did you get a frostbite? That kind of thing. I loved everything about this game. The fact that it is legitimately a card game, and talk about multi-use card games. You have like 6 checks on the location cards, but you can only ever use one throughout the...
Speaking of multi-use cards...
And I love that fact that you can, use your cards for, like, to help you lock dice. You can also use those cards to help you, not lock dice, but mitigate the dice, because the more dice that you have to put in the pool, the more negativity you get throughout the game. Unless I can lock it on this card. But then this card also gives me a special ability. Maybe I'm doing something, or I can change something, or I can do a specific check on that card, or my personal character, or on that location. And it just keeps leading to all these different stories. And the fact that the stories are not super long. They're like little paragraphs that tell you what happened, and then you move on. And then you got to describe the new location you're at, or the thing that you just did for your group. And you're all just trying to do whatever the main mission is, and it's procedurally generated in a sense. You're rolling some dice, and it tells you, here's where your card is, here's what your card is. Based on your character, this is the card that you start your location at. So next time I play this game, I could be completely in a different location. Mm-hmm. I loved everything about this game. It is a little pricey, but for everything that's on there, because there is 800 and something cards in this game. Like 2 different sets of dice, and you get a good amount on there. Plus a lot of cardboard pieces for like the checks and the skills and all this and that. It is a fantastic game. He really knocked it out of the park. We talk about, and you can see why this was in development for 10 some odd years.
Oh, yeah.
It is a fantastic game. I loved everything about it, and to the point, it became a Damn It Daniel game.
Yep. Yep. I already own a new copy now.
Yeah, someone went and picked up a copy this week because he's like, this is everything I want from an open world game. You feel the same way about the open world aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was definitely looking forward to it. I'm a sucker for like Skyrim and all those ones. Where it's like sometimes I want to play the storyline, sometimes I just want to wander.
I want to explore the world, and this allows you to explore the world. Yeah, you might not finish the mission, but now you got some information next time you play it.
Yep, exactly. All right, and the last one I want to talk about of games that I've been playing is a game that... so, a little bit of preface of how this worked out is that mutual friend of ours, Jim, came over and we decided to have our game night.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing games, and I told him, I was like, I've been playing a lot of new games. I kind of want to balance it out with some older games. And so he said, well, take the app. Can you sort it by number of plays? Find some stuff you haven't played like in the past 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And let's get those to the table, the ones that I like. So I was listing off a few games. And this was the first one that he recognized. He's like, oh yeah, I remember that name. I don't remember much about it. I'm like, all right, let's play it. So we got to the table, and this is kind of a heavy game that I had to reread the rules a bit. But man, halfway through it, I remember why I love this game so much. Trajan.
Mm.
I got to play Trajan this week.
That is a good one.
I mainly bring this up so I can brag because I know you've been hankering to play it a little bit.
Yeah.
Gosh,
it was my second favorite. In fact, I think it did unseat Castles of Burgundy at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Castles of Burgundy just kind of went back. And I really do like Trajan. I just haven't got to the table with
it. Exactly. And now, we were talking about it after we were done. It took us a couple hours, because it took us a while to remember it. But we were talking about it and saying, we've played so many board games. This is actually pretty easy compared to, some of the other ones. I remember from multiple years ago when we played it last, how many rules we probably got wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of them, real simple, like those building tiles, when you get one, the first time you get it, you take the bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we were playing it every time you played that you took that bonus action, which is totally
not
breaking.
Yeah.
That's way too powerful. Scoring the points immediately whenever you get almost anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. There's so many cool parts about it, and I'm like, man, this makes so much sense. I'm so glad I got back to the table. This is probably never leaving my collection. I love this game. Trajan by Stefan Feld.
That's a fantastic game.
So enough about what we've been playing. Let's talk about what you could be playing. We're going to be doing a giveaway here.
Mm-hmm.
Just in time for spooky season. We're a little bit ahead of the game, but, I'm seeing Spirit Halloween's up already, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it too.
The new Spirit Halloween just went into the old Big Lots.
Yep, exactly. So that'll be interesting to go see
how they do that store.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more of just.
I like it better there than when they used to be all the way up off
Telshore.
Telshore. I hated getting into that location.
Oh yeah. The parking was terrible.
Yeah.
The location itself was pretty great, but Anyway, World of Monsters, Horrified. There's a lot of ways you can enter. We can tell you there's possible of 10 tickets that you can get
throughout the month
total. So let's talk about how you do it. First off, there's streaming.
Yep.
We stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. If you follow us here and get notified whenever we go live, you get an automatic free ticket to enter. Okay?
Yep.
Secondly, there's an option for subscription. This helps us run our podcast.
Yes.
This is not for profit. That's not really what we're about. We're just trying to keep our podcast airing and pay for the hosting and all that stuff.
The hosting site.
So we always appreciate it when you gift or have a subscription with us, and that'll give us a little bit of money. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one for free, so you could do that along with it. Either way, that gives you 3 more tickets. What else can they do?
You can also follow us on YouTube. Following us on YouTube gives you a free ticket, or subscribing to us on YouTube. Twitch and YouTube are weird about how they word that, but go check us out on YouTube. Follow us there. You'll get a ticket. As well as following us on Instagram. That gives you a ticket because we do a lot of fun stuff over there about what we've been playing, the pictures of that. Plus, you do a lot of the Instagram reels up there. So check us out there and follow us there. That gets you a ticket. And the big one is you can get us through a code phrase through our email that we will give every episode. This will be one of 4 this month cycle. How do they get us in the email?
So we're going to give you a code word. Every episode for the next, this and the next 3 more, 4 total, will be a different code word for a different episode. So you got to listen. If you watch us live, you're going to hear it. If you watch or listen to us later, you'll hear it then. Email us. We normally keep it open a couple weeks afterward, just to give our audio listeners time to submit there. The contest is super important because each one of these code words is a separate ticket. This is 4 tickets for free. No problem at all. And
just for listening.
Just for listening. Because we appreciate you. What's their code word today?
You said it earlier as a little hint. Spooky season.
Spooky season. So, email us put in the subject line, contest. Email everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. and in the body. Please give us a way to contact you and that phrase.
And remember, all contests for us at this point in time is for the continuous United States. We can't ship to Alaska, we can't ship to Hawaii, and we can't ship to outside U.S. because it's very expensive and we pay for this out of pocket.
Yes. So we apologize. Hopefully we'll find a way in the future, but we'll figure it out.
With that being said, we're going into our top 8 debate here.
That's right.
For multi-use cards. You have some words for this category, but let me go...
Tell them the definition before I go on my rant.
Based on Board Game Geek is multiple actions are shown on a card, but only one can be used.
Right. Which a lot of games do have that. Traditionally, when we think multi-use cards, we think of games that are... what's a really good example of that?
Well, there's a lot
There's a lot of good examples.
In fact, it's on our honorable mentions. But basically, it's just cards that could do multiple things, but you can only do you can use the card to gain money. You can use the card for an action. Beer and Bread, I didn't put it on my short list here, but that's a good multi-use cards because you're using the cards for either fulfilling contracts, using the cards to gather resources, or even put resources out there. There's different ways to use the cards as you're playing the game. Yeah,
and so now I'm gonna a little spoilers. I love Bonanza. I did not put that as an honorable mention because I'll tell you why. That is under this list of multi-use cards. Because when you score them, you put some of them face down to show as points. It turns them into tokens. That is not multi-use, okay? Let's be real. That doesn't have multiple actions.
Well, you can use it more than once. So
no, that is not multiple actions with one can be choose. You play the card out, you're playing it out until eventually you cash it in and you flip some face down as tokens. That is not multi-use. I don't care what anybody says. I will die on this hill. That is not multi-use. With that being said, we have some honorable mentions.
I don't disagree with him at all. And we'll talk about that when we get into our top 8 because there is one game I have a big issue with on this list.
Yep. So let's bring out the audience.
Honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions. Here we go. I'll start off by flipping our coin of doom, as always.
Coastal added Root. Now, I've never played Root, but I've heard it is... the way you use those cards is multi-use. So
I vaguely remember it. Yeah, it is. Coastal also added Evolution, which definitely so.
Depends on which one you're... Well, all of them do multi-use, but you have the Evolution from North Star, and now the original Evolutions, now I forget, Crowd Games or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
They have a different style of Evolution, and they just came out with a new style of Evolution games, Nature.
Nature, yeah.
Called, yeah. Tomas added Mage Knight. Now, I'm not familiar with that game. I've never played it.
Arguably one of the best cooperative or solo experiences around is what some people say.
Yeah.
Andreas added Glory to Rome, which I haven't played, but I do know of Glory to Rome. It's a Carl Chuduk game, and he is like the king of multi-use. He's a phenomenal at it.
Alice added La Granja. Now, I've looked at the deluxe edition, but I have never played this one.
I only played the Roll and Write. I want to play this one, but yeah, I can agree with that because there's a bunch of different spots on your board that you can slide them into, and like whether it's the top or one of the sides or the bottom of that's definitely multi-use for sure. Alice added Maracaibo.
I used to own this, but I realized it was like I'm done with like these really really heavy games, so I sold it.
Yeah.
Alice also added one I just mentioned earlier, Beer and Bread, and I really do adore this game.
And Alice also added Oh My Goods.
Also a game I adore. Alexander Pfister at his finest with a small little card game right there.
Yep.
Peter added It's a Wonderful World, and I can see that. If you're going to add like 7 Wonders to this list, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, because it could be discarded for items and stuff. Luis added Lisboa.
That is a Lacerda game, if I remember correctly. I have not played a single Lacerda game. Ariane offered, and we probably maybe would have had this on the list if it hadn't already ascended. This is Concordia.
And Mike definitely would have added it, or had this on the list.
This would have been our number 1 seed, but it was the first ascended, Gloomhaven, yeah.
Yep.
Pearl added Kingdom Legacy, and now I'm not familiar with this game. Are you?
Yeah. If this is the one I think it is, it's like a 1-player solitaire legacy game. Like, and it's pretty wild. It's from a designer that I'm familiar with, but I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a super generic name, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Kalena added Marvel Champions, and I agreed with her because she mentioned this in the comments as well. And I'm like, yeah, it works because you're using it for this, or you're using it for the item ability, or you're using them for the tags that you need to pay for the card.
Yep.
So there is multiple uses on there. Go ahead.
Shanna added Revive.
Travis added Pixel Tactics.
Mm-hmm. Oscar, forgive me, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. Arcs.
Friend of the podcast, Clint added Excavation Earth. Haven't played this one. It looks pretty interesting. That is a Rio Grande, right?
I think so. Yeah. Cedric added Bruges.
Now that is a multi-use card games, and if you want to, you can also pick up the newer version, which is Hamburg. I think it's Hamburg.
Yeah.
I always get it confused with the other one, Amsterdam.
Yeah, I get it confused too. I don't remember. And Jeff added Import Export, which is like a new kind of variation on Glory to Rome.
Okay.
So I have this. I've been wanting to try it.
Sean added Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yep.
Not colorblind friendly.
No. Andrew added Point Salad.
Technically, this actually works in there. Technically. You're either using it for a scorecard or using it to fix those scorecards.
It's closer than Bonanza.
I'll give you that. Antonio added The Bloody End, which we'll get to later.
And Alex added Space Base.
I guess. I think some of those you can you either do it for this or that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, well, once you
and then they
send
convert.
them off,
Yeah.
they convert into, like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it works based on the criteria from
Based on that
BGG.
Vague definition, yes.
All right, we got some comments here, starting with Kalena that I was mentioning earlier, where she's asking if Marvel Champions count because you get to play the card for its ability or use the card as a resource. So, and I said that, yeah.
Andreas added, oh my, this is my category. Too many choices here. My vote goes to Glory to Rome, and I don't even own it. It was one of my first games in the hobby. I like the cartoony artwork, the German version, as well as... but as one of my first games, it was very too complex. My group didn't like it. So I said, I sold it and thought, it's only $20. I can just buy it again. Naive me. Yeah, the original version is so ugly.
Yeah, it really is. Juan says, brass, 1 card, 5 possible choices, no text at all, yet the deepness is great. I don't disagree with that. I'm surprised he didn't put it on the actual thing over here.
I still haven't played it.
Brass is just super heavy.
Yeah. Mike added, very hard to pick a favorite. I think games that use this mechanism use it pretty well.
What BGG says, sure.
Yeah.
Oscar said, I'm a lover of multi-use cards. Come to think of it, almost all my favorite games have them. My favorite could be Arcs. That game really takes the concept to a whole new level.
David added, I love multi-use cards in games because it adds input randomness from drawing cards and rich decision space to mitigate the luck of the draw. It could be a recency bias because we just bought Dune Imperium a couple months ago, but the worker placement / conflict / purchasing / effect dynamic works really well in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why, like when I was talking about Dune Imperium, it kind of works because how you have to use those cards. What is this guy's name? Vigard said, I absolutely love Concordia, and sorry for butchering your name, but I would never consider it multi-use cards. Every card in the game literally says, do this one thing, which by definition says you can do a lot of these things, but you can only choose one of them. In the game, the best implementation of this I have seen is La Granja, but sadly I didn't think the game as a whole is more than pretty good. As such, my vote goes to Lisboa for having a fun way to do multiple use cards in a game package that as a whole is absolutely amazing. And there was a reply from Dylan. See, I don't think I do think Concordia has multi-use cards. Sure, you're using cards for their effects, but you're using them for their scoring conditions too. On top of that, there are cards that let you do one action or another, and he's correct on that one.
Yeah, there is. Vicky added, very hard to choose between Lost Ruins of Arnak or SETI. Obviously, they're a fan of CGE.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like Forest Shuffle.
Which is probably the best one that fits this list right now.
It's the most accurate.
Luke said, Risk Star Wars Trilogy Edition has 3 ways to use each card. You can trade card sets for multiple units, trade individual cards for various fancy units, or follow the special text for a special action. This game is a hidden gem.
Matt said, La Granja for the win.
And Blaine says, I like this poll, but the results just reinforce the cult of new philosophy.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
They're really not wrong. Um,
And then Kevin also agreed with Matt about La
Yeah.
Granja is fantastic for its multi-use cards.
I will be adding to that for my honorable mentions. So, all right. So let's see who talks about our personal honorable mentions under this category first. That'll be me. So the first one that came to my mind was San Juan. I mean, easily, because Race for the Galaxy is the one that's advertised mainly here in America, but San Juan is the European counterpart to it. I mean, technically they're different games, but they're very similar games. You're using these cards for a lot of different effects, but you're essentially just trying to build buildings. Your cards are also your currency. The number that's on it is how many cards you have to discard for it, and there's just so many uses for it. It's such a clever game, so brilliant. I adore it, and there's a reason it's on my list so high. Now, that's one I need to get back to the table pretty soon, too.
Controversial thought here. As much as I love Puerto Rico, I love San Juan more.
I do, too.
I love the multi-use, the small card game, the small footprint, but still gives you that meatiness that Puerto Rico gives you. I just love this one a lot more.
I agree.
So much so, I
100%.
can't wait to get my new set coming in from when I get the Puerto Rico stuff from Awakened Realms. All right, first game on my list here. I want to talk about. Oh, I misread my card here. I didn't put Lewis and Clark on my list. I looked at my list and I saw this one. This took Lewis and Clark out of my thing. This is the most recent game on this list, and I talked about it at the beginning of the thing when we talked about Vantage. This is Expeditions from Stonemaier Games.
Oh, okay.
And I love the multi-use in this aspect because you're using the cards to either do this and you're putting them at the top of your player board or to the side of your player board because you fulfilled a contract and now they're giving you a special ability as you're going. And the different ways you tuck the cards give you different abilities as you're playing throughout the game. And I love Expedition a lot because of the exploration. I think it's a fantastic game. And it's funny because it's the one I originally had on this list was Lewis and Clark's The Expedition, right? Yeah, The Expedition. And so when I looked down on my list, I saw Expedition and I'm like, oh, it's that one. No, it is not. I remember I replaced it when I saw Expeditions from Stonemaier.
Yeah.
And I dig that game a lot. So much so, we've been going through Scythe. Yep. The campaign, the Rise of Fenris.
Yeah.
We've been going through that. As much as I really do enjoy that game, even though I own it, would rather play Expeditions.
I still have yet to play it.
You haven't played Expeditions? Mm-hmm. Oh man, I really love it. I love
I can remember.
I love the exploration. I love everything that you're doing throughout the game. I love the different ways you can use the cards in that game. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. This is a core multi-use card game, and it's clean. It's quicker than Scythe, so that's another reason why I like it too. As much as I like Scythe, I'm at the point where I don't like playing super long games.
Yeah.
Unless that is what I know for a fact that we're going to do. So when we had the thing together, we did Vantage. I knew it was going to be a little long. Or when we do like TI4, I know that's going to be long. I know what to expect. When I'm playing Scythe, it's like, oh man, you're doing this on a game night? This is probably the only thing we're going to play tonight. That kind of thing. But Expeditions from Stonemaier Games, I love the multi-use in that game.
Second one I wanted to talk about was Match of the Century. This is my newest one, and this one you haven't played this one, right?
No.
So this is
a two-player game.
It's a two. Yeah, that's right. You would hate it. It's a head-to-head chess inspired theme. So it's based off of the Match of the Century, right?
It's based off the Bobby Fischer game.
Yeah,
right?
It's based off the Bobby Fischer game, and so. Each of your cards, this is what makes it so clever. So you go over a series of rounds, right? Mm-hmm. And just like in a chess tournament, you'd flip who's white and who's black, right? Of the pieces. Your cards have a white side and a black side to it. And they're definitely multi-use. And the cool part about it is that what's really neat about it is that each of the cards have a top and a bottom. And the underside is the side you use depending on which color you're playing. Mm-hmm. And so they could be used as kind of like their power, and every card has its own ability based on like what type of piece it is. And you only take that ability if you lose the battle. So if I play down a 5 and you play down a 4 and we don't buff any of either of them, which we have abilities to do so, then that means I win it, and I'll get the points for it, which matters, but then you get your ability, which will affect other games in that set. It's so cool. And there's multiple times where you're like, oh man, I don't want to play these cards because I know how powerful it is when I'm the white player. So let's just hold off on this. I'm going to throw this match, whatever, and then flip it around. Now I have an awesome card. Oh my gosh, it's so smart. It's so cool how it works. I think it's brilliant. So yeah,
All right, my next game I'm going to talk on my list is my newest game on this list. Well, I think Expeditions in this specific game came out around the same time. I think this one was just slightly earlier because it got released in Europe before Expeditions got released worldwide. And this is Veil of Eternity. This is and you haven't played this one either.
Yet. No.
It's a neat little card game where you're either taking a card to put into your hand to use their special abilities, and you can only have so many cards played down based on the round level, or you're selling that card, and what is going to happen is there's going to be this cards laid out on the table, and you're going to do a snake draft. You're going to choose one, and then whoever's first player is going to choose one, and then you're going to keep going, and then in reverse turn order, the last player is going to choose a card, and they keep doing that, and then you're going to take that card, and you're either going to sell that card to gain the money based on that number where that card is, or based on the resource there, or you're going to take that card into your hand to play its ability. And sometimes those abilities say, hey, if you do this, you can do this action or this action. You have to choose your action. If you play this with another thing, kind of think of like a TCG, where it's like if you have another one of these, or a deck builder game, if you have another one of these, this becomes more powerful and stuff like that. And it's most points wins at the end of the game. But the card system in this is very unique, and the cost system in this is very unique, because you can only have a certain amount of tokens, and each one has a price. You have your 1s, you have your 3s, and your 5s. You're only allowed like 4 of them. So if I have 4 1s, that's all I have for money-wise, and I can't make change. Once I have 4, I'm locked into there, so I have to find a way to spin those for I can start getting more of those tokens out, for I can get higher level stuff. I love everything about this game.
Weird economic game.
It's a weird economic game with some multi-use cards that have really cool abilities, or they're money for you, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hate drafting that game. It's like, I know you want that card. I'm going to sell it and get myself $5 because I have one more token I can take. Right. And you're overpaying cards too, because you don't make change. If I spend a $5 for a card that's only worth $3, I'm losing out on $2. So it's really neat how this game works. I love the way the cards work themselves. I have to show you this one. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, can't wait.
Veil of Eternity.
And this is another one you'd hate because it's also a 2-player game, but I'm going to send some love over to our friends in Albuquerque. This was said in this honorable mentions. I couldn't agree more. Pixel Tactics is so multi-use.
I don't hate this game. I've played this before.
It's 2 players.
That's fine. I don't hate 2-player games. You just decided to make it a meme because I don't really own 2-player games because my wife doesn't play games with me anymore.
I feel like this has gone into a therapy session. No, so Pixel Tactics, literally every card can be used 5 different ways. My goodness. You have a small deck of cards.
Before you keep going, you'll also... They just recently had a Kickstarter for Super Pixel, Mega Pixel Tactics or something like that.
Yeah, Super Pixel Tactics. It looks like very 16-bit. It looks like it's in a Nintendo box. We got a privy to see the stuff. It was so cool. Anyway, so the way this game works is really cool. You're battling each other out. You take a single card, and that's going to be like your main guy, right? That determines it. So that's on the bottom part of the card. So you actually turn it upside down. And every card it looks like an RPG, like old school Final Fantasy menu.
Yeah.
You have a top, a middle, and a bottom row. Then you also have an action. So if you place it, imagine a 3x3 grid in front of you. If you place it in the top row, you'll take the top effect. If you take it in the middle row, it has the middle ability, and the bottom row, same thing, right? Mm-hmm. They actually have names. I just don't remember the names off the top of my head. But they also have a separate action if you play them instead as their action point. So they could be beneficial depending on where you put them in your grid. In 3 different ways. They can either be played as your action, or every single one of them can be played as like your main dude. It's wild. I can't even imagine the amount of development work that they put into it. They always come up with just like the most unique, like over the top, like everything is so multi-use in every way possible. Yeah. This is really creative, and Pixel Tactics had to go on this list.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's a good game. I've played it years ago. I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah.
But I remember playing it, and it was like, oh, this is cool. And when you got like little packs, it comes like with a poster like you used to get in the old video games, and that's your player mat. I thought that was always neat too. All right, so my last game I'm going to talk about, this is a Damn It Daniel, or Danny, if you will, game. You showed this to me, and we played it, and I had to find a copy of this for myself. Finally, I was able to pick myself up a copy of this. Love everything about it. This is the game that truly made me fall in love with multi-use card games. this is the bloody end.
Yep.
I love the tongue-in-cheek macabre theme in this one. I love the fact that you can use your card as a casket or a building to help bury the bodies that you have murdered in a thing.
Yep.
They could just be guests that you get a little bit of money from, or they could be people that you end up taking care of, and then you take their pocket change. And then you have to find a way to dispose of the trash that they left in the room. You just don't know how it works. But then you could hire people to help you out, like a sheriff who looks the other way, or a priest who confirms the last rites for certain people who just passed away in the hotel room. You don't know how.
Yeah, so happens.
I love everything about this game. I think it's fantastic. The artwork is great. The system. This is the core multi-use card games. Anytime we talk about this thing, this is the one that always pops in my head because everything about this game, it feels really cool. And since it's September, for our listeners, this is neat because September 1st is the start of my spooky season. Yep. This is when I start watching horror movies. This is when I start playing my horror games. I look forward to this time of year because it is like the funnest time of the year for me because you got spooky season and you go into the holiday season and then Christmas and all that shenanigans. I'm looking forward to busting this one out because it is a fun multi-use card game. Yep. This is the bloody end.
Very good. So, shall we get into today's debate?
We shall get into today's debate, and I have some thoughts about the games that are on this topic. Now, some of them I'm fine with. Some of them...
Yeah, we'll express our opinions on the games each, but yeah, I'm the same way. Some of these are just, they are just technically multi-use cards, and they got in here just because of that.
And again, starting off with the definition by Board Game Geek, the multi-use cards are multiple actions are shown on a card, but only one can be used.
Which means our number 1 seed is Dune Imperium.
Followed by our 8th seed, Forest Shuffle.
And that'll be our 2nd seed, Seven Wonders Duel.
Going up against our 7th seed, Star Realms.
Our 3rd seed, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Going up against our 6th seed, Quest for El Dorado.
And our number 4 seed, SETI.
Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Going up against The White Castle. Okay, 3 of these games I have issues with. Star Realms is the main one. Quest for El Dorado kind of works in this aspect because you can either use it for this ability or that ability just to move across the map. Either you're using it to go through the forest or whatever. Yeah. Fine.
Sure.
White Castle I have an issue with because it's mainly a dice placement game, and the cards part of this game is I use this dice with this number, this gives me this ability. There's 3 different abilities on that card, and it all depends on the number of the dice is.
It's a tile that modifies the board.
Yeah. Hey, but this is what they tagged it as, so this is our rule specifically going the top 8 games on BGG that we have both played. Yep. This is how the cards lie in this case.
Yep, and then
literally.
That's how they work. But don't worry, we have our 5 gamer criteria that we're going to break down for you right now, and that's how we're going to determine which of these moves on. So first, we have G for game immersion. That talks about, is the game fun to lose? The player interaction, whether it's table talk, role-playing, all that stuff, and memorable moments. This is oftentimes where we include, like, thematic ties. Mm-hmm. How well is this working? Game immersion.
When we talk about the next one, which is A, is art and production, and this is straightforward. The art. Again, it's subjective, but some of these things look better than the others. The pieces and components. Do they have good components? The White Castle has some great components, but
beautiful components.
Does it have better artwork than some of the other games out here? And then finally, the graphic design. We've talked about this on several occasions. You guys all know both of us are colorblind, and it's very important for us to be able to see certain things. And also, when we talk about graphic designs, the rulebook is part of this, and we'll get into that when we get into that.
Yep. Then we have M for our gamer criteria, which is meaningful choice, impact on other players, depth of strategy, tactics, or skills, and do arbitrary choices, or AP, negatively impact the game.
Next up is E for gamer, and ease of play. This is the simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism. This one's going to be kind of simple-esque. Likelihood to get to the table, i.e. through the mechanism or the theme, or is it easy to learn, understand, and or teach this game?
Yep. And finally, we have replay value, which is the length of time and scaling well for the number of players. minimum number of plays for the full experience, and expandability, whether that's existing expansions, hinted out ones, or confirmed by the publisher or designer.
And then finally, if we cannot come up with a consensus on who should move on, this is why it's very important that you go to the Board Game Revolution group on Facebook. We put up a poll there every Sunday or Monday before the top 8 debate, and you get to decide who moves on, because whoever has the highest vote total on this moves on to the next round.
All right, you ready for it?
Let's get into it.
Each round, he pulls from the Cup of Doom. I flip the Coin of Doom, and that determines who debates first on which of the games. You're going to be starting us off, Daniel.
And I get Forced Shuffle. Alright. As much as I like Dune Imperium, and I do, I have everything for the original set. I don't have the new one yet, Uprising, I think that's what it's called. I also have everything for Forced Shuffle, except for the newest expansion, which is, like, expansions or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. But I have the two main ones. I haven't got the new cave system yet either, because those are just starting to roll out here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Forced Shuffle, at its core, is the quintessential game on this list when it comes to multi-use cards.
This is the most multi-use card out of all of these. Yep.
It literally has two different cards printed on it. You either have like butterflies or something that goes on the bottom. I forget what those are, like mushrooms or frogs or something like that. Stuff that
grows on the ground.
Yeah. Then you have your fauna, you have like maybe flora, but you have butterflies and stuff like that for the tree levels, birds. You also have like boars and deers and rabbits and all this and that.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is your cards can either do multiple things. You're going to either use your cards as currency to pay for certain things you put out there. You can use your cards as a tree when it's a tree. Or if you need to, you could use one of the other cards if you don't have any trees in your hand, pay the cost, flip it over, and now it's a tree sprout for you. And it still counts as part of your forest. You're just not going to get the points for building the tree. Then, later on, you could decide, I'm going to build above the tree by putting out my different types of birds or butterflies, or to the side of the tree for the different things. You're also going to have a cave that you can actually store creatures that will give you points at the end of the game, too. Yeah, you have all these different things, and all these different things trigger in different ways. So there's tags in there that you have to pay attention to. There are these creatures that score certain ways. So like a bear will score depending on how many cards are in your cave, or rabbits score more if there's more rabbits in your tableau. Butterflies score based on how many different types of butterflies you have in your tableau and that kind of stuff. This is, at its quintessential core, the multi-use card games on our list right here. Now, is it easy to teach? Not really. It took us a little bit when we were learning this game, but a lot of these are not like super intuitive when you're playing them. Not easy to understand. So this is like a push and pull. And multi-use cards are, at its core, a lot harder to teach games because the way different stuff works.
Yeah.
So at that point of thing, but this one has some beautiful artwork. I think it does get like the art and production aspect of it, because the artwork is gorgeous. The animals are gorgeous. The fact that there's two different paintings on a card depending on which animal it is, and then you tuck it under the tree and you don't even see the other animal, and it's just like, oh, it's just a deer peeking out from behind a tree like you would see in a forest. Yeah. It has that art and production value for it. It does have that smart, meaningful choice for you as well. I think it is somewhat simpler than Dune Imperium, but not by much, even though it is a card game. Dune Imperium, the trick to that one is that it's a deck building, worker placement game, and you got to use your card to trigger a spot. That's a lot easier to teach. You're like, oh, you could do this with this card, or this, or this, or this, or that with this card. It's a little bit more or less intuitive than, say, Dune Imperium, but not by much. And then the replay value of this game, both of them have a bunch of expansions. I think Dune Imperium has 2 or 3 expansions.
I think Dune Imperium has more.
Dune Imperium has 3. Because it has the 2 expansions, the Rise of Ix and one other one, and Dune Imperium Uprising, which can work into the old system as well. And then Forest Shuffle has 3 expansions, the Alpine, Woodland's Edge, and then the Cave system. And I think there's a 4th one coming out. I don't remember.
You know it better than I do, that's for sure.
So I think it gets replay value, and I think it gets art and production for sure. It's more fun to lose than Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium can be a bit of a slog. That is an issue there, because it's the first to 10 points, but you get points so slowly in that game. But I don't know. Go ahead and talk about Dune Imperium, and we'll go through there.
So Dune Imperium is... I'm surprised Fantasy Flight didn't make it, Like, it's one of those style of games.
It is its Fantasy Flight style game.
Yeah, right? It's like an epic space thing, It's
IP.
It's an IP, yeah. And, you have a lot of moving parts that do work in tandem together. This is a worker placement deck builder game. Neither of those parts are hugely strong, but a lot of what you need is card-driven. To play the cards, that will determine where you can place your workers. That'll determine what actions you can take. That'll determine how you buy more cards. So, it's a big, grandiose game. Mr. Beast really loves it, so take that as you will.
He also won a tournament for it, too.
Yeah, that he hosted.
Yeah.
And so he ended up donating the money to charity because he was like, I wasn't trying to win. I just wanted
to play the game.
I hosted a tournament because I really wanted to play it. And so apparently he's like a massive fan of it, which is pretty cool. Not that should matter in our debate, but but here's the thing. Likelihood to get to the table, Mr. Beast is a fan of it.
Well, not just that. It's also the fact that it's Dune. There is people who follow Dune from the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a game from the 80s for Dune, and this is a very different game.
Also, I think that was Fantasy Flight back in the day.
It
before Gale Force 9 took it over?
Yeah, something like that. Either way. So, yeah, I could see either one of these. If we were going strictly by just which one is more multi-use card, which one functions better, Forest Shuffle has it. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. Although Dune Imperium is more reliant on multi-use cards than a lot of these other games that we're going to be debating.
Yeah.
But that's not just what we're playing with. Game immersion,
which game is more fun to lose?
Forest Shuffle, because it's over quicker.
Yeah, that's true too.
Honestly, like that.
I do like Dune Imperium a lot, but I don't disagree with you on that one. Just because it's quicker.
I'm not a big fan of either of these games.
Let's just put it this way: I could play multiple games of Forest Shuffle in the time it takes me to play one game of Dune Imperium.
That's true. Player interaction. There's
more in Dune Imperium.
Sure, yeah.
No, there is because of the table talk, and then you have to go into that combat system. So there's that as well.
Yeah, if you want to win, yeah. Which is arguably a downfall for the game, but whatever. Give me a bunch of options, but you just have to battle anyway. That's what you gotta do. And memorable moments,
fine on both, yeah.
Yeah, they were both dull in my experience.
We'll call game immersion a wash.
I'm okay with whatever you think it is what I'm saying.
Well, neither one of them have true memorable moments. Forest Shuffle is more multiplayer solitaire. Knock it off.
I'm so sorry.
Drink your water.
I'm working on it.
There's a lot more player interaction in Dune Imperium.
Yeah.
And neither are fun to lose. They're there. I'm I don't mind losing a Dune Imperium. It's just sometimes I feel like I should have played more efficient. And you're kind of beholden to the luck of the draw, but there is a tableau in the forest for you to pick cards out of, so you're not forcing yourself to draw blind.
Right.
Art and production. I like the art better in Forest Shuffle, though I love the fact that Dune Imperium is not screen captures. It's actual artwork in that game.
Yep. Well, neither is Forest Shuffle.
I'm just saying that based on IP stuff, most of the time it's screen capture. Looking at you, Upper Deck. But the pieces and components, base to base, I think the pieces and components are better in Doom. Because you have the wood pieces for the characters.
You have wood cubes for characters.
No, you have wood cubes for soldiers. Your workers are wooden meeples.
Oh, sure. Sure. Okay.
All you have is cards. There's nothing else in.
Well, those are good quality cards.
In one board.
In one board in the middle.
That you have to fight with to keep it from popping out.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Because it's a bifold.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the graphic design is, I think, slightly better in Dune Imperium because you don't have to read a lot like you do in Forest Shuffle, where they give you a whole freaking deck of cards just to explain how all the different creatures work in the game. That's troublesome.
Yeah.
So I think art and production goes to Dune Imperium just for those two. Meaningful choice, I think, is... I think Forest Shuffle moves on. It wins replay value because it has more expansions.
Yep.
Minimum number of plays for the full experience. It does. It has 4. It has the caves. It has the 2 expansions, and they just came out with a new one.
Okay. And Dune Imperium has
3.
It has the plus 2 Uprising, right?
Well, no. It has 2 expansions plus Uprising.
Oh.
In Forest Shuffle plays quicker.
And it's easier to play.
Yeah.
All right. Forest Shuffle moves on. Ooh, we're starting off strong.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, all you Dune fans.
All right.
But I hope that there's solace in agreeing with us on the fact that at least it is more multi-use card.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next one. Seven Wonders Duel versus Star Realms.
All right, Star Realms. I'll be starting us off.
I swear to you got Star Realms.
Yep. I love Star Realms. I really do. I don't disagree that there's not a lot of... There is plenty of cards in Star Realms where you have one choice or the other. But I will be the first to admit that this is a very simple deck builder. And what I mean by that is that you do have the opportunity to play all of the cards you have. And you just total up the numbers and then you attack things accordingly. How they function work really well. And one of the best parts about them is when you get the core factions, where, like, if you play a green card, sometimes they'll have a secondary action where if you have another green card, you can do this. A lot of cards do have choices. Choose this or this. Where are you going to do it? And all you're trying to do is
focus your deck.
Focus your deck. Make it super clean and running it very efficient. The better you do on that, the better you do in the game. The first to bring their opponents down from 50 to 0 life wins the game. And there's countless expansions that they've made for this. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think replay value, it scales really well. It's 2 or 4, or up to 4, depending on how big of a version you have.
And honestly,
you have the $20 box.
I think they just sell the 4-player
set. Pretty much. It's like $20, and it plays up to 4 players. Minimum number of plays, all the cards are different, so you have a lot of gameplay value in there.
But all the cards are different. A lot of them are. There's some that are the same.
Oh, there's a couple duplicates, but but expandability, it's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
Ease of play, I think it's also easier. Seven Wonders Duel isn't difficult, but since...
I think Seven Wonders Duel has 3 expansions, if I'm remembering correctly, but I know there's a crap ton for Star Realms.
Yeah, exactly. There's more factions alone for
Star Realms,
Star Realms, yeah. So, but ease of play, I think, also goes to Star Realms, just because of the fact that, it's really easy to get to the table. It's really easy to play. Learning the game is very functionally simple, and since you literally dump your hand and play it out, there's not too much tough choice. However, meaningful choice. You'll get that. Art and production, they're both very pretty. I like the production on both of them. I will say that apparently the components are waterproof in Seven Wonders Duel. Again, listen to previous podcasts. We'll that. Game immersion, here's the thing. Seven Wonders Duel is a fun 2-player game. It's a brilliant game. But Star Realms, when you have those combos where you're like 4 turns in and you're going, all right, and I'll hit you for 30 life. All of a sudden, and destroy all your stuff in the process. Only to have your opponent come back and do that to you right after, those are super memorable. There's great interaction, Like, do you want to kill my base? No, it's not doing you anything good. I'm just going to hit you straight to the dome. I love stuff like that. Whereas I feel like Seven Wonders Duel is more of a methodical, smart, clever game. I think Star Realms moves on, but I want to hear your side.
Star Realms should not move on for the simple fact that it's not a multi-use card game. Unfortunately, that's not one of our criteria. I think Star Realms should be booted.
Seven Wonders Duel is not a dual-use card game.
It's multi-use, yeah?
No, it's not. And I'll explain why. Okay. You're putting the cards face down as tokens.
Oh,
that's the bonanza argument.
This argument again.
That's not multi-use card if the actions aren't listed on them. You always have to take a card. You'll likely use it for the card, but if you don't want to, you can instead just put it face down and build part of your wonder. That's effectively discarding it. That's not using it in a different way. Or you can get money from it. Again, you literally are discarding it and getting tokens. That's not multi-use cards. That's a one-use card, or you choose not to use the card.
Oh, so much so that Star Realms works in this?
It has or. It has the word or on it. Therefore, it is twice as more.
I'm not a huge fan of Star Realms. I like Star Realms enough. I'd rather play the Star Trek version of this game. In fact, I want to get the new version of the Star Trek Star Realms because it has the Borg, which is one of my favorite factions.
So I ended up putting the copy of Star Trek Star Realms. I ended up putting in one of the photo cases, and you can't fit the board in there. So I have the board just sitting in the box, and I'm like, you don't need the board. I mean, it's cool and all, but you don't need the board.
All right, so I have to argue Seven Wonders Duel. I think it's a much better game and much more clever game than Star Realms, to the point where I have enough deck builders. I don't need Star Realms in my collection. I have Star Trek Star Realms because I love Star Trek.
Yeah.
And you need a good Star Trek game. But I have Ascension, so I don't need Star Realms. I have Shards of Infinity, so if I want to do that head-to-head combat, I have that. I don't need Star Realms. Mm-hmm. Seven Wonders Duel, I used to own. In fact, I have its successor, Seven Wonders, not Seven Wonders, what's it called? Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. Sure. Which is basically a reskin of it with Lord of the Rings, which is much better themed than Seven Wonders. I agree. Both games are fun to lose. I will give you that once you get those combos, you feel really, really clever. But I mean, I get that when I play Seven Wonders Duel, too. When I'm like, oh, do I take that card away from you because you're doing really good on the military and use it to either chuck and be like, haha, I took that coin away by getting myself a coin, or using the military to actually fill my wonder, which would be the final part of the wonder that I need. That also feels really cool. Or the fact that when you finally pull off a military victory, that is a good, memorable moment. I've done that. The science victories is probably, for me, like the weakest victory outside like the highest score wins kind of thing. But I've never enjoyed the science victories, even regular Seven Wonders, because I just find it more...
You hate science.
No, I love
science. You heard
it
here, people.
Because it's basically just collecting tokens, and once you get a wide spread of tokens, you win the game. Whereas I love the push and pull aspect of like that little tug of war you're playing when you're playing the military track. I also like the fact that it lends that memorable moment when you're like, he just left me that card, so something's going to flip up, and I hope to God it doesn't help you. I take that card. Oh, there's another military card.
Which, by the way, also doesn't count as multi-use cards.
Oh, God, here we go again. More so than the Star Realms.
No, Star Realms does have choices.
Not much. But,
versus 0? I'm not saying there's a lot. I'm just saying, compared to Seven Wonders Duel, it doesn't have an or option on any of those cards.
Pieces and... Yeah, it does.
Which one?
It's the slash line! That's
Where?
or!
Oh, you need to have this resource or this resource.
There's an or right there. Your argument is invalid, sir.
Wake me up when the debate's over.
Because he can't make an argument to my argument. I think the art and production's better in Seven Wonders Duel. The replay value goes to frickin' Star Realms because there's so many expansions for that game. You have like the Commanders, you have the Legacy now that's coming out. Ease of play. They're both fairly simple. I just think Star Realms is a little bit more intuitive. I like the choices better in Seven Wonders Duel. It has a lot more meaningful choice than Star Realms does, because sometimes you're just going to draw your basic cards, even no matter how many cards you put in there, unless you're trashing them. And sometimes the cards that you're pulling into your system doesn't allow you to trash cards. And so it's that's going to happen. That is a curse for all deck building games. Ascension has that same problem too. Sometimes you're just going to get your basic cards and like, this is a dead hand for me. And whereas in the meaningful choice when it comes to Seven Wonders Duel, it's a lot more push and pull. You have to be careful and play your game smart.
I agree with that.
All right, so based on mine, I say art and production Seven Wonders, meaningful choice Seven Wonders, replay value, and ease of play of Star Realms. So, and both of us are kind of just sitting there on the Star Realms on the game immersion because we have different feelings for that.
Sure.
So that's a wash for me.
Yeah.
All right.
I personally think game immersion would go to Star Realms, but I get it. Like, that's just me. But I'm willing to let it go to the vote.
That is crazy. By 1%, Seven Wonders Duel moves on.
Wow. All right. Fair enough. Ooh, that was a tight one.
So the people even agree with us where it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. Neither should be on this list, is what we're saying.
Yeah. I don't disagree on that one.
All right, our next round for the quarterfinals is going to be Lost Ruins of Arnak versus The Quest for El Dorado, both with epic names. And you'll be starting us off.
It's the Quest for El Dorado. Okay, that's the one I'm looking for.
Versus Lost Ruins of Arnak.
The wind messed everything up over here, so.
Yeah.
The fan that we have on, because it's 90-something degrees out here.
Yep.
All right, so who's
Welcome
starting
to
this?
late August. You'll be starting.
And I get The Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Okay.
Lost Ruins of Arnak actually fits this category more than Quest for El Dorado, in my belief. But it also fits this category more than Star Realms, as well as Dune Imperium.
Yep.
When it comes to the worker placement, deck building, or just deck building in general aspect of the multi-use card games, because you can use your cards to send your expeditions out onto the map and explore based on the planes or the boots or the cars, I think it is, or boats. I can't remember if it's boats or cars.
Boats, cars, airplanes.
Yeah, and boots, yeah. So you have the different categories for just that aspect. Or you can go up on a track somewhere else. I don't think you have to spend cards for that one by going up on the track. I think you have to have like resources to go up the track. Or you use your cards for their abilities of the cards, either using it for your worker placement part or using it for the ability of the card, which sometimes could give you coins, or which you need for something down the line, or gives you a special ability, or once you get into the next set of cards where they're the magic cards, it's like, oh, you could do this and that and this and that. I like everything about Lost Ruins of Arnak, especially when they added the Leader's Expedition, when it gives you the asymmetrical powers. That really helped it out a lot. There is 4 expansions, I think. 3 expansions, plus a big box now. But you have the Expedition Leaders, there's another expansion, and then there is one that gives you like more solo play, campaign style, to make it more solo friendly. I love everything about this game. Plus, the pieces and components of this game are pretty cool, though. If you're going to give me all this good resources here, like with the arrows and stuff like that, give me some coins and other stuff rather than just tokens. If you're already going to spend the money there, give me more pieces.
We're not going to get into that. We got in a heated argument last time.
Yes, I know.
Like you made, just because they included cardboard, somehow it made the plastic pieces less better than...
No, the plastic pieces are great. It's just the cardboard pieces...
The fact that they exist
they don't
you
match.
Off so much.
Yes, they don't match. And that drives me insane.
The art production became lesser because of that.
It's just, that is my one issue. It's just like, if you're already going to go out on the limb and give me plastic pieces, give me plastic coins too. It's not going to be that hard. I've had other games that gave plastic coins right out the bat. Or if you're going to do cardboard, do all cardboard, and then allow me to upgrade my stuff. Now I have to upgrade part of my stuff to match the other stuff.
So you're saying that if pieces, like, if there was a game that used like plastic minis and then plastic or cardboard standees at the same time, it's awful components.
Gloomhaven bothers me when it does that.
Anyway, stick around for that giveaway.
Gloomhaven is a big thing. I was tempted to do the miniatures, and then I saw the price, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. Because I get why they did it. They threw the kitchen sink in that thing, and there's like 100 different monsters that you have to correlate against, and I'm like, that's already a big enough game.
Yeah.
I'll stick to my little bit of minis there. But and then Horrified doesn't bother me all that well, because at least when they did it for the original Horrified, they did it to the creatures that need to be the ones that are the minis. So, but it's more the tokens aspect, because I'm a tactile person. I play with the resources when they're sitting on the table, and when I have plastic and then cardboard, it's like, oh, I'm not getting that tactile difference. You know what I mean? Because the cardboard pieces are just smooth, and if I've already spent all my arrowheads, I got nothing to play with on the board. Oh. So that is my gripe there. But I find the fact that it's more immersive for me, because I've never won a game of Lost... No, I've won one game of Lost Ruins of Arnak. The first time I've ever played it, and I've not won since. And I still have fun every time I play it. I found when we played Quest for El Dorado, it was fun. I was interested in this game. It was a Knizia game. It was a racing deck builder game. I thought it was good, cool. I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to it. It's got Vincent Dutrait art, because you know I'm a sucker for that. And then I played it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need it. I really don't. I enjoyed my play of it, but it's over in this group, so I don't need it for my other group, that kind of thing. Whereas I have everything for Lost Ruins of Arnak in the big box pre-ordered for I could put everything in there. The art and production, I think the art is better in Lost Ruins of Arnak, even though it is Vincent Dutrait art. But I just love Lost Ruins of Arnak. Those creatures, when you flip them over, are just really neat to look at. The monsters, the Guardians, I think is what they're called. The graphic design, both are very readable. Quest for El Dorado is way easier. Way easier.
Yep.
But there's a lot more choices in Lost Ruins of Arnak, because you can either play over here. If I don't even have cards, I could still play on the board if I have the resource for it. I can buy something out of the market if I have the money for it. I there is a lot for me to do in that game. This is one negative drawback for Lost Ruins of Arnak. It can lead to AP. Sometimes you're sitting there like, or you have players that are just taking their sweet time, and so I'm like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
So that is one drawback. Yeah, pretty much. But other than that, I think Lost Ruins of Arnak is the better game and should move on. But let's hear your Quest for El Dorado.
I disagree with you strongly. I don't think it's a better game, but I do agree it should move on. Now, here's the thing, right? So it's whether we think it's a better game or not. I just prefer the Quest for El Dorado. But I do agree with pretty much everything you said on this. Quest for El Dorado is a clever little... I mean, it's a Kinesia deck builder, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not just a traditional deck builder. It's a racing deck builder, which is not that common. There's like 2 others I could think of that are that, and one of them technically isn't, right? So yeah. It's not that common. So it's cool. Like, I like Quest for El Dorado a lot. Vincent Dutrait art is great, but it's only really the cover that you get to see that, and some of the excuse me, some of the character cards that do that. The board itself is very busy, but all it is just icons, so it makes sense, you know. Mm-hmm. It's functional. I mean, I don't really have any disagreements with you, right? You know, like, I agree it's more meaningful choice in Lost Ruins of Arnak. Mm-hmm. I don't like it as much, but that's not the point. Piece of components, way better in Lost Ruins, right? Game immersion, I mean, maybe I can make an argument for... It feels more like you're racing because you're building up this cool stuff, but like I don't think you're finding machetes and boats in the middle of the Amazon.
That is true. You should already have that stuff if you're exploring the Amazon.
Yeah, you should be depleting because you're losing the stuff because they're wearing out, not the other way around. You know. So regardless, I mean, granted, Lost Ruins of Arnak, you're only playing the tech tree. If you're not playing the tech tree, then you're not winning.
If you're just doing base. Yeah, the base. They do fix it with the expansions.
Yeah. But the fact that they had to fix it with the expansions, that's my biggest drawback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Lost Ruins of Arnak just goes on. I'm not going to belabor it anymore.
Okay.
So, Lost Ruins goes on. And now our final one, SETI, The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, versus The White Castle. And I'll be starting us off.
All right, let's see who you get. You get SETI.
SETI. Okay, cool. So, great theme. I mean, the theming is super immersive. People came for the theme, really, is what it is. Mm-hmm. We live in an area in New Mexico. We're just south of a thing called the VLA, which is known as the Very Large Array. And that was featured in, like, the cover of Contact and all that stuff. Where you see the satellite dishes, like, on a long train track. Yeah. They're our neighbors, right? They're only a couple hour drive away from us. So, it's super cool. I visited. It's really cool. Have you been there before?
No, but I know, like, down here it's all about, like, because you can actually see the stars and stuff like that. The array, I know of it. Have never been there. But also, Dr. Tumba, who found Pluto, was from this area. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's so much cool space stuff. So, SETI was a theme that I was really engrossed with. I was really excited to play that game. And, you know, you're exploring space, you're settling planets, you're doing all these things.
And the cards are multi-use in there.
And the cards are multi-use. The pieces, like, in the middle with the tracks moving around, absolutely stunning. Like, they found a really simple way to do that, to put the half dome underneath the board, and it just spins around that. That makes perfect sense. You still have, like, the little throat lozenge, you know, discs that...
the CGE discs.
Yeah, the CGE discs that everyone's very familiar with. But then, the fact that you eventually discover a new alien race, 2 of 5 in the game, that give a whole new rules in it, that's a lot of replay value just on that alone.
And plus the one expansion they have announced, so... Right,
exactly. Now, the multi-use cards, sure.
They're a small part of the game.
They're a small part of the game, very small part, but more so than the White Castle, so ha. Yeah. And, I mean, replay value, you know, I'm sure they're already making an expansion for it if they didn't already. They did,
for White Castle, yeah, Matcha.
No, I'm talking SETI.
SETI, yeah. It's not out yet, but there is an expansion that has been announced.
So same number for each, right? But it takes a long time for SETI.
Very much so.
The White Castle isn't short. SETI is long. Ease of play probably goes to White Castle too, but Meaningful Choice is SETI. To an extent, Piece of Components are definitely SETI. Although, as good as White Castle is...
Those dice are nice, but yeah.
Yeah, and then Game Immersion, I think, when you reveal the races, that's really... That is most memorable moments. It's exciting to learn how each of them work. Although our experience was a little dulled, I get it. I get
why people like it, yeah.
So,
I know why
SETI should move on.
I know why Dom likes it. I wasn't a fan of it. Out of the two games, I prefer playing White Castle. One, it's quicker. Easily. Yeah. So much quicker, even though that's not a short game.
Yep.
But it's also those like that quick snappiness of it compared to SETI where you're like, oh, do I do this or do I do that? And you have to pivot. And for me, there was a lot of like nuanced rules with SETI. That was my big issue with that game. Where it's like, oh, I can do this, but I have to be here. And I got to be in this section for me to do this, but I have to make sure I have a satellite here before I can do this. I have to make sure I have something in this area before I can launch onto this planet. Mm-hmm. And all these little nitpicky rules that were just like kind of kept taking me out of the game. That was my issue with SETI. Yep. Even though I won the game, I still don't know how I did it. I didn't gronk anything. I didn't figure out what I was doing correctly. I was just like, okay, I'm in this area based on that nitpicky roll. I can drop this, and on my next turn, I can drop this. Nobody better move that board, or else I have to figure out how to fix that.
Sure.
I did like the multi-use cards where either you use them for this, or you can use them to build your tableau, where different things are going to start triggering, bang, 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 and get your little engine building aspect of it. I love the rotating board. I thought that was really cool. I liked White Castle just a lot more. For me, White Castle had more immersion, just for me, aspect of it. I had a great time playing it. I did lose this game. I won SETI, and it was fun to win that game, but not really, because I didn't know what I was doing. It's always fun to win a game. Yeah, it's always fun to win the game, but I didn't know what I was doing, and yet I somehow won. And I still don't know to this day how I did it, because like if I played it again, I would probably get the worst score I've ever gotten. And there, it's just like the like getting to the mean and stuff like that, because I still don't know what I did right and how I could duplicate that next time I play.
Yep.
Whereas I knew what I did wrong when we played White Castle, and I'm like, okay, I could fix this. I could play it better here. Yeah, you have a little bit of the dice rolling aspect of it, but once the dice are set, they're pretty much set, and then it's based on how you're going to draft that kind of thing. I found it, the player interaction was a little better in SETI, because it's like, oh, I have this ability where I can piggyback off someone, so I can jump off with this guy over here and stuff like that. The memorable moments were just more for me in White Castle, because I'm like, oh, if I did this, I could do this, and then I could do this. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. In SETI, I'm like, I did this. If I did this, could I do this? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Oh, yeah. And so it felt like I was doing work, and I didn't know what I was doing exactly. It's like if I started a new job and I lied about it on my resume. That's how I could describe how I felt playing SETI. So for me, game immersionness was more White Castle.
Sure.
The art and production, I agree with you. SETI is fantastic. The pieces and components are great. Yep. The graphic design is okay. White Castle's not much better. I mean, they're both legible. They're both readable. You know what you're doing. When you're doing the multi-use card part of SETI, it's legible. I can tell the difference, stuff like that. Trying to learn the icons took a little bit, but once I did, I could figure the icons out.
Not to interrupt you, but you know the one thing that sets the art and production above for SETI for me is the forethought to put that little notch on each of the little like levels, and so that means that if they're over a gap, they have a lot of support still, because that's thought. That's what sets it above.
So I think SETI gets the art and production for me as well. I'm just saying, like, White Castle is nice, and I love the art in White Castle because it gives you that aesthetic, that Asian aesthetic, for like. Traditional Japan aesthetic from back in the day, the samurai era.
Yeah.
I think SETI has more meaningful choice than White Castle, but the fact of the matter is, I could grok the White Castle meaningful choice, whereas SETI's like, oh, if I do this, I do that, and it takes a lot. I will say this, though. The AP in SETI was frustrating me at times.
Yeah.
Because, and we don't play with like a huge AP group. Every now and then we'll have a couple people that do it. But this one, it was causing you to have AP. It was causing me to have AP.
Yep.
You and me are quick players. We know what our mapped out turn, and we're all sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. Not the, what would be the best move? It's like, what is going on? I'm so scared. Put me out of my misery.
I'm sitting here. How am I having the lead right now? I don't know what I am doing.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
But ease of play, I think White Castle's a much simpler game. It is a lot easier to grok than SETI. SETI broke my brain. I won the game. Again, I keep belating this. I won the game. I don't know how. It still breaks my brain.
So are you saying White Castle should move on?
No, because I think SETI is moving on because of the replay. Well, hold on. I think White Castle should move on. Let's see. Game immersion, I give to White Castle, but that's more of a choice here because I understood it better. There's more player interaction in SETI. There's, I guess you could say, more memorable moments in SETI, especially when you get those aliens.
Sure, yeah.
So I say game immersion is SETI. I say art production is SETI. Meaningful choice for me, I think, is White Castle because it's a lot more I can figure out, but I think SETI has that strength there too.
Yeah.
So I think SETI gets 3 out of the 2. For me, I think White Castle should move on. I just don't think based on our criteria.
Well, it's our debate, so say it with me.
SETI moves on.
I think SETI should move on just because it does have technically multi-use cards, and
White Castle doesn't.
So
the multi-use in White Castle is like, I guess you could consider them like tiles. They're just cards that get seeded to the board.
Yeah.
And they trigger based on what die you take.
Right, and not to void our criteria, but we've done that before where we're like, this shouldn't be in this category. We are not allowing it to move on.
Yeah.
This is the one and only time we should do it, because now we are going into the semifinals. All right, so let's talk about those 4 that were eliminated today and what percentage they got for votes.
All right, so Dune Imperium was eliminated. It's one of our higher vote getters. It had 16% of the vote out of 200 and something votes. That was
a lot
crazy.
of love for that game.
Then you had Star Realms and Quest for El Dorado both sharing 1% of the vote. So no love for those ones. And then the White Castle, which was the final one eliminated out of the quarterfinals, it had 4% of the vote.
4%. All right. So now we're going to go onto the semifinals. Seven Wonders Duel versus Forest Shuffle. The small card games.
Roughly,
I'll be starting us off.
They are pretty small. All right. You get Seven Wonders Duel.
Okay. Again, not multi-use cards. But beside the point, it is a very strategic game, right? You know, it's 2-player head-to-head, and it does it really well. I do like one of my favorite things about Seven Wonders Duel, and one of the reasons why I enjoyed playing it so much, is that there is 3 legitimately different ways to win. Really, this should be a multi-win card game. You know, not a multi-use card game. Because you use them all the same way, but you can win in different ways. So that's what's really clever about it. I mean, what we said earlier, you know, there's meaningful choice. I think this is not even a question, right? Yeah, there's a lot of ways to score in Forest Shuffle, but there is literally 3 ways to win in Seven Wonders Duel. You can't ease up on that. If you let your opponent get away with one of them, then it's game over for you. You can't do that. I also think, like, as simple as Forest Shuffle is to play, I remember my play of it was actually rather confusing. And not just because I'm not that good of a gamer, but just like I was legitimately like confused for good portions of that game because I'm like, wait, you can put this here, but like this tree wants this, but why wouldn't you know? And I remember just asking a lot of
the
those
way
questions.
the different things trigger, yeah.
Yeah, like and it just
this
wasn't...
costs this much unless you already have this ability or you're paying it for this cost, you get this extra ability.
Right, exactly, and I'm like I get what it's trying to do, but I just for some reason in my mind. There's a jam in the gears, right? Yeah. And it's just, there's some functionality that was very confusing about it. Where the iconography, pieces of components, I think, Seven Wonders Duel, waterproof components, right? Which without a doubt, like, they're really good components. Even in base game, you can get upgrades for them, too, like metal pieces and all that stuff. Super cool, but even in the base game, the tokens are solid. The main piece, the plastic piece, the war track, the board that lays in between them, and all the cards are very clear, beautiful, easy to read. So, I mean, without a doubt, I think, obviously Forest Shuffle, I think, would probably get the art part of it, especially if you're like a fan of arborists, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But Seven Wonders Duel is still also a very striking to look at game, I think. With that being said, game immersion. That's tough for me. Replay value, I do believe there's more expansions for Seven Wonders Duel. I might be wrong on that. You're double checking it. So
there's 3 expansions. No, Force Shuffle I believe has 4.
So we'll double check that. But yeah, okay, so easy enough. But length of time and scaling, well, you know, Force Shuffle.
Both have a standalone as well.
Yeah.
So here it is. 1,
yeah,
2,
double checking that.
3.
Oh man, yeah, there's a lot of love for Force
This
Shuffle.
is not, but there is, I think, 1 more. So
3.
3. Yeah, looks like it's the 3 right now.
So it's tied up, both promos. Yeah. So they have the same number of expandabilities, but it doesn't matter anyway. Seven Wonders Duel, 2 players only, about 45 minutes. 30, 45 minutes-ish. Mm-hmm. But minimum number of players, you see pretty much all the cards. There's a couple guild cards that are different each game.
Yeah,
and
you
play with a
take
different
out
wonder.
3 guild cards, that's about it.
And the fact that you play with 2 of the 7 wonders each.
Yeah. Which means
you're playing with more than half of them in every game, right?
Yeah, 2 games roughly.
Yeah, so replay value for a shuffle, of course, for me. Ease of play, I think that's someone... Well, personally, I think that's Seven Wonders Duel. I think that's easier to make sense. Because a lot of people know how to play like Klondike Solitaire, which is not this same version, but... You know, if you
it kind of works like Klondike Solitaire in a way. In fact, if I remember correctly, the first setting of Seven Wonders Duel is Klondike Solitaire. You have one at the very top, all the way down. You cascade them all.
No, it's a difference. Klondike Solitaire is the classic one with the rose.
Yeah.
The pyramid one is a different one.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean it's a solitaire. So if you played that on, if you've ever been Ward on. Ward on Windows 95, you know what I'm talking about. And yes, you are that old too. You were playing computers a quarter of a century ago. Think about that. So, with that being said, though, game immersion, neither of them are that memorable, but when you eke out a win on one of the categories, I think that's more memorable for me. I think there's a lot of player interaction, especially when you're revealing a flip-down card. So, I think Seven Wonders Duel moves on purely on the top 3. Game immersion, art and production, meaningful choice. But the other 2, I think, does make sense. So, let's hear it.
All right. I think Forest Shuffle should move on because it's the one that fits this criteria the best.
It does.
However, I do like Forest Shuffle a lot. I got to take it to my other game group. My wife enjoyed it. It's really neat what it does. Both games are fun to lose. I think you were mentioning it earlier. Seven Wonders Duel is a little bit more clever in the aspect that you could win in one of 3 ways. The Forest Shuffle, it finishes after the 3 winter cards come up. And so it could keep going if that last winter card is at the very bottom of the deck, and that can force it to drag along. But you could literally win the game in the second era if you're just hammering that person in the military. It's like military, boom, military, boom, military, boom. I win. Because you move that thing all the way down to the thing. And so at that point, you're got to pay attention. Like, I got to take that military card away from him. Even though it's not really helping me, it's keeping me in the game, and I move this token a little further back. If I get it to a certain spot, then I can start playing certain ways better again. So it does have that little push and pull that's really cool about that. Both games are fun to lose, but there's not a lot of player interaction with either game. Yeah, I'm going head-to-head against someone in Seven Wonders Duel, just the one other opponent. But I'm more concentrating is like, I see what you're doing over there. I'm seeing what I'm doing over here, but I can play this game without communicating with you. And that was the curse with regular Seven Wonders too. It was like we could play a full game of Seven Wonders and never talk to each other because all you're doing is drafting these cards. And that is the problem with Forest Shuffle as well. Yeah. I don't really care what you're doing over there because your cards are not affecting me in any way. So.
Like, hey, what do you got over there? Trees? Yes, so do I. Anyway,
how many of that thing do you have over there? Okay, we're good? All right, cool. I'm still beating you on that aspect.
I still have trees, huh?
So, both of them are not that immersive, in all honesty. I will give you Seven Wonders Duel has a little bit more memorable moments because winning militarily is really cool. Yeah. If you go into the new version of it with the Lord of the Rings, their military aspect is taking the ring to Mordor, and that feels more thematic than Seven Wonders Duel. That's what's funny, is that feels more thematic. But slight edge to Seven Wonders Duel because you do have those memorable moments, whereas like I don't feel Like, oh, I won this game because I had more butterflies than you did. So, the art and production, I love.
Clever butterfly play.
Yeah. The art is fantastic in Forest Shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
The pieces and components are really good in Seven Wonders Duel. Waterproof, apparently. Here's where I think Seven Wonders Duel pulls off the art and production. In the graphic design.
Yep.
1, the rule book is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2, the rule book is really, really small in Forest Shuffle. And the big part about it in Forest Shuffle, you have a whole deck of cards just to explain the creatures and how they work. When you need a whole deck of cards to do that. Yeah. Where it's like, why do I have these cards? Oh, this is how you learn the animals. Excuse me? I just read the rulebook. Why is it not in there? Right. That is my issue, and that affects the graphic design on that.
My biggest graphical problem with Forest Shuffle was... And there's only so much they could do about it, but... I mean, we're colorblind, so green is green-ish.
Yeah.
All trees look the same. So it's like, I know that they did their best to make them look as different as possible, but they still look so similar.
I will say this, I'd rather play Forest Shuffle over Meadow, and I own both games.
Yeah.
So if you want something pretty, that's not going to take that long. Forest Shuffle is your game to go. But I agree with you, the graphic design, art and production, that meaningful choice, I just think it's a big one there for Seven Wonders Duel as well. As much as I like Forest Shuffle, and this really is the quintessential, and don't mind his coughing.
My apologies.
The meaningful choice aspect of Seven Wonders Duel, you have to play smart.
Yep.
I don't have to play that smart. It's like, I don't want these things. I'll draw blind because maybe I'll get that bunny I want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't impact you in any way. Because I can then turn that card into a tree, and now I have something else to mess around with.
Yep.
So it's just a lot more meaningful choice. Just for those 3, I think Seven Wonders Duel moves on. The ease of play is simpler in Forest Shuffle to an extent, but not really. Because it's basically, I'm drawing cards or playing cards. That's it.
Arguably, I think it's actually simpler in Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just because it's literally just take a card and apply it, you know.
And then replay value, they're pretty much the same. I think you'll just get more out of it. So for me, it's 3-2. For you, it's like 4-1. Whatever. We both agree. Seven Wonders Duel moves on.
Agreed. All right. Our next round is Lost Ruins of Arnak versus SETI, Search for the Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
CGE.
That's right. Our CGE round, and I'll be starting us off.
You get SETI again.
All right. So, SETI. Again, what I said before. Because it has both mainly plastic components, it is better than plastic and cardboard. So therefore, piece of components, SETI. Actually, I still stand by that. I think the pieces of components for SETI are still better.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with you on that aspect.
Although a lot of the tokens are really fantastic in Lost Ruins of Arnak. I love the tablets. I love the arrowheads.
Yeah, those
gems,
are great.
Those are fantastic. They could have done like the really generic like aquarium filler, like vase filler gems that every other board game uses. But no, they made their own rubies special models. So that's pretty cool. But either way, I think SETI is better for as far as art and production. And man, that cover is striking on SETI. Oh my goodness.
I prefer the cover on Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I get it, but I don't know. There's something about the cover for SETI and the graphic design of like just the logo for how SETI looks. It's just clean. Anyway. Ease of play, neither. Replay value, currently right now is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Mm-hmm.
They're both really long games. They play about the same number of players. There's just more expensive.
Lost Ruins of Arnak is slightly quicker.
Yeah, but
slightly quicker.
Slightly quicker, and that's as soon as somebody quits. Meaningful choice, though. Here's the thing. As much as I want to argue for SETI for this, because that's the side I'm arguing for, I can't. Not for meaningful choice. Because you said it. You don't know how you won. There's a lot of ambiguity. But both of these games suffer in one specific reason. I don't like it when there's a big, heavy game that gives you a lot of options and a lot of choices of different things you can do, but there's really only one viable way to win. Both of these games do that.
At least the expansion for Lost Ruins of Arnak fixes it.
And we don't know if
we don't know what SETI does yet.
We don't know what it does. But SETI is all about settling the planets. If you're not doing that, you're not winning. I focus specifically on getting the majorities on each of the radar things that I was doing. I didn't even come close. And I was putting in just as much effort as these guys were as well. And they were just filling in points, right? By settling the planets. by the time I realized that I wasn't gaining as many points from that, I was like, okay, let's settle the planets. It was too late. It didn't matter. I might as well sat out the game. I almost did. Like, I was like, I'm just kind of done playing.
You and me actually both checked out in this game.
Yeah,
I won the game, and I kind of just...
At one point, I was literally just kind of playing around. I'm like, all right, I'll do that because I know I can do it, and that's how that works. Cool. All right.
I was watching the baseball game in the background when it wasn't my turn.
And my seat is the back towards it, but I was watching it through the reflection of your back window, you know. Anyway, like, so, I mean, I'm airing my grievances right now, but the thing is, Lost Ruins of Arnak does that too, right? The base game, if you're not focused on the tech tree, you're not winning. You're just not gonna. I mean, yeah, maybe you technically could, but
my
it is
thing
such
is,
an uphill battle.
when it comes to the Lost Ruins of Arnak, when it comes to that aspect of it, yes, the tech tree is very important, but if you dabble in it and you're still doing exploring, you have a better shot of still competing in the game than you do in SETI in not doing the planets.
Sure.
Because I dabbled on the planets, and I dabbled in the engine building, and I won the game.
Yeah.
Whereas I concentrated on the deck building, but I did a little bit of exploring, and I won the game on that aspect of it, and I still fight in the other games when I still can do the exploration, because I'm like, okay, let me try it this way next time I played it, and I did a lot of the exploration and dabbled a little bit of it, and I still came in second out of 4, so as long as you dabble in the tech tree, but there's times where you don't want to dabble. I want to be an explorer. This is all about exploration, and the base game is a problem. But at least it's less of a problem than it is in SETI.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you when you're talking about SETI in that aspect. You have to really concentrate on the planets.
Yeah.
That's what I concentrated on. I know for a fact. That's what I was concentrating on. But I also had my little engine build over here that concentrated and streamlined me into that aspect as well. And so that helped me out a lot. So I agree with you on that. Is like you are forced to explore the planets more so than doing what you're supposed to do and sending information out there.
Right, exactly. It's less about finding the space aliens, more about just like figure out planet stuff, you know. So that's what it is. So this is gonna be a tough one, honestly. I mean, I think game immersion, neither are that immersive. The memorable moments, I do like the my favorite part about Lost Ruins of Arnak base game is the fact that you can either buy items or artifacts, and I like how the round marker changes the amount of that. I think that's a really clever way to do that. So that's great. SETI doesn't really do anything like that, so there's that. And it has kind of almost like roll and move, how you move around. Anyway, beside the point on SETI. I mean, you can kind of see where I'm aiming here.
Yeah. For me, game immersion, I like Lost Ruins of Arnak more than SETI. Just base to base, one-on-one. I remember the first game of Lost Ruins of Arnak, I was like, yeah, and I went out and bought it. I remember base to base SETI, I played that game, and I'm like, I don't ever need to own that. So Lost Ruins of Arnak was more fun for me to win or to lose. I won both the first games I've ever played of these games. One of them is more memorable than the other, and I've lost the other game. I'd be fine if I never played SETI again. I will play it again if G.A.M.E.R wants to play it again, especially if he gets that expansion. Sure. There is a little bit of player interaction in both of these games. Not really. Because you're all concentrating on your own thing, really depending on what you're doing. Unless, like, G.A.M.E.R takes a spot from me in Lost Ruin of Arnak, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to go there on my turn.
Taking a spot on the planet, right? You know.
Oh, you beat
really,
me to
these
it.
are just the same game with a slightly different flavor.
Theme, I feel there's more memorable moments in base to base in SETI slightly. Just because, I did this. That felt really clever.
Yeah, the aliens. Those are cool.
Those are really cool. That pops out. But even then, it's just kind of like, but I did this, and I did this, and I have these cards that allow me to do this and move up here. And you feel really clever when you get your cards to play exactly how you need them to play. So it's, for me, I just think Lost Ruins of Arnak hits game immersion slightly better. Slightly. The art and production, both are fantastic. I will give the pieces of components to SETI, especially because that board is just really cool how it works. And then everything works functionally well, whether for my tactileness. But the art is fantastic in Lost Ruins of Arnak. I really love the art in Lost Ruins of Arnak compared to SETI. SETI's art is cool. The cover is striking, but it's a very dark board with iconography on there, and then the little bit of artwork you get is a little bit on the cards, and then when the aliens come out, and it's certain things. So
I don't know, the planets are pretty cool looking.
Yeah, not really. They're just fine.
The generic planet stuff, right? You know.
Graphic design works well. So for me, art and production slightly goes to SETI just because of the way the board works. Sure. And it is much more readable.
Yeah.
Meaningful choice. Yeah, you have a lot of meaningful choice in SETI, but there is a lot more AP in this one too. A lot more. Neither one really impact the other players. These are the core multiplayer solitaire. Is like, oh, you're doing that. Oh, I got to beat you to that because you can get that reward before I can get that. That is pretty much it. Both have a lot of depth and strategy. I just like the strategy better in not SETI, the Lost Ruins of Arnak, because I can work my cards a lot easier than doing the engine building when I don't know what I'm specifically trying to do. In the board, because it gets manipulated, changes so often. I have myself set up here, and then the board moves, and now I'm on the other side of the planet, and I'm like, oh, great, now I can't scan where I wanted to go because my thing got moved. And that was a big issue for me, too. It's like, I can't plan ahead of my turn. When I'm playing Lost Ruins of Arnak, the board doesn't change as much, so I can plan ahead and know what I'm doing. So there is more meaningful choice for me because I can sit and watch while you guys are doing, and I can plan out what's going on. Whereas I'm doing SETI, I'm like, I just got to wait till the board changes when it gets back to my turn before I can figure out what I'm going to do. I can have my move set, and something changes, which screws up my move.
Right.
Ease of play. I just find Lost Ruins of Arnak slightly easier to play because at its core, it's a deck builder. You know what it is. Or it's a worker placement. I use this card to go here. That's all I got to do. I pay this card, go here, I get whatever happens here. That simple. Or I don't have that, but I have these resources. I can go up this track. Whereas SETI is like, oh, you could do this, but then you got to trigger that, and you got to use this, but this to go here. It's a smart game, but it's not easier to play. I remember when we were learning, it took us nearly an hour to learn the rules of SETI. So that was it for me. And then replay value, there's more, especially when you get to the Leaders expansion. It plays quicker than SETI. Base to base, one-on-one. We played a 4-player game of Lost Ruins of Arnak in under an hour. Or at least an hour. SETI took us 2 hours plus an hour to each. And that's telling you something. So for me, I think Lost Ruins of Arnak moves on.
I'm all game for that. Lost Ruins moves on. So we have now our finals. Seven Wonders Duel versus Lost Ruins of Arnak. But Daniel, what were the fan votes?
The fan votes was Force Shuffle was eliminated at 4% of the vote, though we had a bit of an issue because someone added Force Shuffle when it was already there.
So it was really like 6%.
Kind of 6. I'll give it like 5% because it just kind of took votes away, but you don't know how it would change. And then SETI was another one of our highest vote getters at 16%. So it tied with Dune Imperium at 16%, and I think that is our highest total.
And a lot of like love for new games, as one of our commenters said.
Yeah, it was our second. It was tied, so I'm glad it didn't come down to Dune and SETI in the finals, and we were torn on that because it wouldn't go to the fan votes.
Yeah, exactly. So, final Seven Wonders Duel versus Lost Ruins of Arnak. What are your thoughts going into this?
Well, I have one that is by far the easiest one for me to call out. He's a play a Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah. Yeah. I personally think art and production for Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yeah, I give you that one.
They both have cardboard coins, so...
Yep, no, I don't disagree with you. I think it is slightly better. The board is very readable. Yeah, I don't disagree. And honestly, you just have cardboard boards for the Wonders. In fact, I like Seven Wonders Architect better when it comes to the Wonders because you're actually building them up and building the pieces up.
Alright, so replay value.
Both have 3 expansions.
Right.
Length of time and scaling well. Seven Wonders Duel is going to play quicker, but it's also only 2 players. You can hold more players in Lost Ruins of Arnak.
The scaling doesn't work, but the length of time. If you think Seven Wonders Duel is realistically about 30 minutes 30 minutes total, so 15 minutes per player. Lost Ruins of Arnak ain't an hour per play or an hour for a 4-player game. You could.
It's about 20 to 30 minutes per player.
Right. So scaling, it's still easier
still slightly better.
Yeah.
But the minimum number of plays for the full experience, I think that is Lost Ruins of Arnak. Because, again, it takes us 2 games and you can see everything in the box of Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah, but you can see everything in Lost Ruins of Arnak because all you have to do is play the tech tree.
Not necessarily. You don't know... I don't know all the
right, not the cards. I'm just saying, like, if you're only playing the tech tree, then that's all you're going to see anyway.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, I get what
for
you're
me,
saying. Yeah, there is more with the cards.
For me, it's a wash here because one scales better. They're tied on expandability. I think there's more minimum number of plays for the full experience in Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I agree with
because the different guardians that are going to be different during games, you're going to have the different cards that are coming out. So for me, replay value is a wash.
No, I was actually thinking replay goes to Lost Ruins.
They're equal on expansions.
And lifetime scaling well.
Yeah. Okay, Lost Ruins it is.
Yeah.
Well, I am not going to argue on that one.
No, I know. I think it's, to be fair.
Game immersion. This is the big one. Because there's one more that is bigger. But that one is going to be a lot more difficult for me to argue with. Because both are really good.
Yeah.
Game immersion. Which game is more fun to lose?
Seven Wonders Duel. And because even if you lose on one of the 3 ways, you are probably still doing well on the other 2.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you timed it out. Like
yeah.
That's a good way. It's like I was about to destroy you on both of these things, but you irked out this win using the science or whatever.
Yeah, so
that's
for me,
a really
I
clever way
agree
to
with
do it.
you on that one.
Yeah.
There's a somewhat player interaction in both these games. I find it more in Lost Ruins of Arnak because my wife yells at me more in this one than she did in Seven Wonders Duel.
Sure.
And it's just because, like, oh, you went there. I needed to go there. I needed to kill that guardian, that sort of stuff. Or you went up on the track and you got the reward before the other player, and you're like, haha, I beat you to it, and stuff like that. It has those built-in player interactions where, again, and this is the curse of most of the Seven Wonders game, I can play this game and never talk to my opponent.
Yeah.
I could trash talk the opponent, maybe, but even then, it's just more along the lines, I need to get rid of this way he doesn't go up on military track.
Yeah.
Or I need to get rid of this because that could give him the science victory.
In fact, it's actually worse if you trash talk because you're like, I'm going to destroy you. My military is coming for you, dude. Then that tells you, hey, don't let me get military cards, right? That would be very detrimental.
So for me, it's Lost Ruins of Arnak and game immersion, but I'll hear what you got to say.
I'm going to call it a wash. Because I do think it's Seven Wonders Duel. Because the memorable moments, Lost Ruins of Arnak doesn't have those stand-up moments. Seven Wonders Duel does. And in fact, both and game to lose. That's why I say, like, I think memorable moments and fun to lose.
For me, it's player interactions and memorable moments for Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's because I do have a lot of memorable moments. I remember winning and knew how I won the game. And I also remember, like, once the leader expansions come out and stuff like that, where you're like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah. And I also remember playing it for the first time and be like, this is really neat. I like Dune Imperium, but I like what this does a little bit. And eventually it unseated Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium was my favorite out of this kind of set, the 3 sets that came out. Because the other one is Paleo.
Endless Winter.
Or Endless Winter, yeah. To the point where I'm like, do I want to keep Endless Winter? It's not really getting played because I have these 2 games. Right. All right, and then that leaves Meaningful Choice, which, this is going to be a toughie.
Okay. Depth of strategy, tactics, or skills is so much stronger in Seven Wonders. Yeah.
You have to play so smart in that game.
You have to allow yourself a buffer zone that if you reveal a card that would benefit your opponent, that they're still not going to run away with the win. Mm-hmm. You have to focus on every aspect of it. It's 3D mind chess, right? There's so much depth to the tactics that are in Seven Wonders Duel compared to almost any other game that has...
I will say this about Seven Wonders Duel when we come to our Meaningful Choice. For a 2-player game, this can have some of the worst AP that you can ever have in a board game. For a 2-player game.
Sure.
You don't have it as bad as in Lost Ruins of Arnak, but the reason I bring this up, because I agree with you, I think Meaningful Choice is going to go to Seven Wonders Duel, because there is a lot more impact on other players in this game. Right. But I want to make mention of that. I've played both this one a lot and Lost Ruins of Arnak a lot, and I've also played the newer version, the one I do have now, the Lord of the Rings version of it. And several times I've played the Seven Wonders Duel and this one, where someone's just sitting there like, oh, but if I do that and this, that, and you can hear the talk in there, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, take your turn. There's like 2 cards you can choose from. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your choice. It's that or that.
But at the same time, just the fact that in Lost Ruins of Arnak, that we've said this, and I know I keep hammering it, you're really only playing a part of the game. If you really want to try and win, you're only playing part of the game.
Not necessarily, like I said.
You really you can't ignore that.
You can't ignore it, but you can dabble in other stuff.
If you do not play in the tech tree,
then you'll lose the game. You have to at least play in the tech tree.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
that is so arbitrary at that point.
Luckily, they fixed it in the expansion, but that's a difference. Neither here nor there.
Yep.
But you can kind of get that a little bit too in Seven Wonders Duel based on just how the cards line up in that thing. So I take away a military card from someone, and that's going to flip 2 cards. If both of those cards come up military, I'm kind of screwed in that matter too.
No,
it's not as lucky per chance, but
it's nothing to that level.
Yeah.
Like there's not a part where if I say, "Oh, I'm going to ignore this part," that I am guaranteeing myself not to win. Like, and that's more or less what the base game Arnak does. That's without a doubt. There's no arbitrary choices in Seven Wonders Duel. Like, there's really not, because everything's available to you at all that time.
No, it's not.
Well, okay, so some are face down.
Yeah.
Sure. That's why it's multi-use cards, apparently.
Because you don't know what's going to flip when you take the card.
Right. And that's why you have to plan for that accordingly. Whereas I can't plan for you going up the tech tree and me just going, oh, I want to defeat some monsters because that's more fun for me. Nope. If you just focus on that, you don't win. Haha, showed you. No, I can't give that.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we have a tie.
Okay.
2 to Seven Wonders Duel, meaningful choice and ease of play, and 2 to Lost Ruins of Arnak with art and production and replay value and game immersion being a wash. Therefore,
now, I will point out, Seven Wonders Duel props to that, because very rarely does ease of play and meaningful choice go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It does happen, but it's
very rare, yeah.
That's not that common.
So going to the vote based on our wash, it will be Lost Ruins of Arnak being our winner of the multi-use card game category, the top 8 debate, because it had 15% of the vote. 1% off the highest vote getter with the 216% that I mentioned earlier. Seven Wonders Duel had 2% of the vote.
And which I'll give credit, because it really does, like, at first I was like, man, it's not really multi-use cards, it's just kind of deck building. No, you're absolutely right, because you can use them as their ability, or you can use them as their mode of transportation. Yeah, and that is multi-use card, better than a lot of these examples.
And actually, what's funny about it too is that you can use, if I'm using a plane, I'm overspending for it, but I can still use it as the boot or the boat or the car or whatever it is. Because there's a part where it's either boat or car, the second section, and then you have to do the plane for the further section.
Yep.
And so you're using it for that. You can overspend. So yeah, it works out for what we're trying to talk about. So more so than most of the other deck builders in this game.
More so than, I totally agree. This is probably the second most multi-use cards.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, congratulations, Lost Ruins of Arnak and CGE. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you ever want to email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Remember, you can enter in the contest here by listing off the code word
Spooky Season.
Yeah, remember, put in the subject line contest, and in the body, please put a way for us to contact you and that term Spooky Season. We also have an Instagram.com/everydayboardgames. And if you follow us there, that's also another ticket.
As well as all video re-uploads and reviews are found on YouTube under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what you do, there are 3 things you could do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not, and that gives you a ticket. Like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
We also stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. If you want to join us on that, so, no, not subscription. I get them mixed up because of YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to follow us there, you get a free ticket as well. And if you subscribe to us, you get 3 additional tickets.
Because we know it's an expense and you're helping us out, so you get 3 additional tickets at a chance for this board game. And all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.